What does God want to deal with in your heart today? Listen, this is a parable that allows heaven to come to earth. And so here, he comes with all of his credentials. Listen to what he says. I fast twice a week. What's he saying? I know how to go without. Do you really? I give tithes. I give according to the law. That's my status quo. That's my entitlement. I give tithes of all that I get. See, what's your entitlement? What's your religious entitlement? What's your racial entitlement? See, we can have all of these credentials. And what do they speak of? Self-effort. It's what I do. It's my righteousness. Do you know what God thinks as you present that to him? He says this, all of your self-works of righteousness to me are like filthy rags. God wants to take those off you this morning. Do you remember in Zechariah chapter 4, it says there that Daniel was clothed, that Joshua, the high priest, was clothed with dirty, filthy garments. And what does God say? Take them from him and put on him a new garment. Put on him that which I have desired for his life. See, that's what God is going to do this morning. And here, the second man was this tax collector. You know, you read the story of Zacchaeus, and it tells you about a tax collector. It tells you about someone who was extortionate. He was extorting people in order that he could amass wealth. Just like today. It was said it was a little man. He climbed in a tree to see Jesus, trying to give himself a position of advantage. It may be that he was so ashamed of the way they lived our life, what people thought about him, what people said about him, all of those things, the butt of all the jokes. And here he was trying to see Jesus. And this man, this tax collector, I want you to look at another response this morning. As I have just meditated over this passage and just allowed God to so touch my own heart, I want him to touch your heart today. Here, this tax collector, the first thing that he does, he stands afar off. You see, in those days, we don't know whether he was a Gentile or whether he was a Jew. But you see, the Pharisee would have gone into the courts of the Jewish people. And here, this man, because he was standing afar off, he would have been standing out in the courts of the Gentiles. That's what it would have meant for him, standing afar off. He would have felt excluded as he saw all the people coming in with their phylacteries, with their prayer shawls, all of those things, everything according to the law, with their tithe hanging out of their pockets so that other people could see just how much they were going to give that particular day. And I'm sure that there were many people that were behaving like that. But he was standing afar. What does that mean to us? Excluded. He felt uninvited, alienated. In America, they would have said he lived on the wrong side of the track. He was of the wrong social status, the wrong color. He was in the wrong business. See, these things have to be confronted. Why? Because God confronts them. And so here, he was standing afar off. But he too had his capitalistic tendencies because he was becoming rich by extortion. He had his own little racket going on. He had his own little way of taking, because tax collectors how they would live and how they would get their wealth was the extra tax that they could extort out of a person's life. Remember Zacchaeus? When he came to Jesus, this is how he was propelled into a changed life. It says, Lord, I give half of my goods to the poor. And if I have defrauded anybody, I'm going to give them 4 times more back. Sharon and I were talking over the kitchen table this morning. And Sharon said, I said, what do you think that means, Sharon? How do you see that? She said, well, if I took £1,000, I'm going to give £4,000 back, plus the one I took. So that's £5,000. See, an encounter is a powerful confrontation with God that propels us to live our lives in a different way.